once again, South Florida. This is Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler and 𝗷𝗂𝘂𝘁𝗁 of LSF Capital. I'm your host, 𝘁𝗵𝘁, and we are going through our two-show series of covering all of your retirement bases. Art, thank you so much for joining us again. Did you have fun last week?
Oh, I had fun, and I'm having fun today.
Good. Glad to have you. Len, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing great. You know, I was checking you just recently, 𝘁𝗵𝘁. You know how many shows you and I have done together now on TV?
On television?
Yeah, about 50.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
This is our 50th anniversary. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Is that why we had to bring in reinforcements?
That's
Because we
right.
did 50 of these already? Oh, that is
I'm glad
awesome.
to have my partner here with me. He does a
I
good
had to
job.
celebrate the 50th show.
There you go.
Well, I'm so glad to have you here. And we are trying to cover as many of your retirement bases with information and solutions for you. So that's what we're going to continue to do on today's program. So we like to, of course, let's talk safe money. It's the name of the program. It's the name of your radio show. But I do want to ask you about investing. And it's a little bit more of kind of open opportunities that you have with LSF Capital, as opposed to the company that we've been registered before for the last couple of years through most of those television programs.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about investment strategy, if you don't mind. Art, I'll start it off with you.
Yeah, well, asset allocation is always a big thing that we wanted to talk about. You know, so you can't have everything. I mean, a lot of people today are buying Apple, buying Microsoft, a couple of, but what happens when something goes wrong with one of those companies or a bad report? You could lose a lot of money. So asset allocation to us is very, very important. And I think we do something a little bit different than a lot of other companies. As you know, in the past, we were pretty strong with fixed index annuities. I know the A word that everybody's worried about.
Right.
But fixed index annuities are really, really something to take a close look at. The main points on it: you can never lose any money. That's the big one. You never give back any gains. There's no fees on most of the ones we use, and you get some pretty good returns. So what we're doing is when we're putting together a portfolio, when Eric and the guys in our team are doing it, they look at taking the portfolio and maybe having that 60-40 blend that you'll hear quite a bit about. But the 60%, instead of being in like CDs or treasuries, we would put the 60% in the fixed indexed annuity. Can't lose any money, never give back any gains, no fees. Then the other 40% could be in the market, could be in equities. But if you take that whole portfolio, you've cut your risk down by 60% because 60% of your money can't lose. So that's kind of some of the ways that we look a little bit differently at the allocation of your investment.
Now, what have you labeled that, Art? You got a label on that.
We actually kind of unique. We called it the controlled volatility portfolio.
Nice.
And I think it does
control
exactly
the volatility of the market, the up and down the market with that 60%.
And even that, though, can still be individualized per person, per family. I even sometimes say in between couples, we have different risk tolerances.
That's
so
exactly right.
Do you define it first on how you put it together by their risk tolerance or by their age or by how much is in there? How do you decide what goes?
By their age and by their risk tolerance. So the first thing is just kind of a rule of thumb. If you're 65 years old, you might want 65% of your assets safe. You can't lose any money because you don't want to lose money when you're in retirement or near retirement. So that's kind of the rule of thumb is for their age.
Now, one of the things, Art, that we always talk about, this A word, 𝘁𝗵𝘁 and I have done this a number of shows,
right.
But, and 𝘁𝗵𝘁 will always say, oh, Len, not the A word, right? But a lot of people, they really don't understand annuities. When they hear that word annuity, they just freak out. I mean, I always say, I have people call me up on the phone and they'll say, well, I don't like annuities here. Oh, we don't do annuities in this house. And I go, well, let me ask you a question, sir. Do you get Social Security? And they'll say, yeah, I get Social Security. I said, well, sir, next week or tomorrow, why don't you give Social Security a call and just tell them to take that check back, because you don't do annuities here at your home. It's nothing more than an annuity. If you win the lottery, it's an annuity. It's annuity, right?
Or even pension plans.
Or a pension,
A lot of the pension plans,
absolutely.
they will give their $1 billion, $2 billion. You can look online. I know of many different companies, and they use some of those largest insurance carriers.
Right.
And they take that lump sum of that group who's retiring that year, and they put it into an annuity.
Right.
It's just you're doing it yourself.
So annuities aren't bad, right? But there are some bad annuities, right, Art? And there's different designs.
And usually when you hear, negative things about annuities, we're really talking about variable annuities. And Len and I don't get involved with variable annuities because you're still in the market. Everything is still in the market. So that 60% or 50% we're trying to protect isn't protected anymore because you're in the market. So you can lose money. The other thing is they may have a rider on there that, okay, we lost money, but you're guaranteed X amount of income. So they could have an income rider. But what does that cost? You got mortality and expense costs for a variable annuity, could be like 1.25%. You got money management fees for the sub-accounts that are in there, similar to mutual funds. That could be at 1%. And then the rider cost to have that guarantee could be another 1%. You're looking at 3 to 4% per year of costs on those variable annuities. So should they get a bad name? Probably, and that's where it's coming from.
Now, we had a gentleman come in not long ago. As a matter of fact, I think he had a number of annuities, and he wanted Art to check them out, for him. Matter of fact, he had, I think, 5 or 6. And what was interesting is, and folks, by the way, we'd be happy to do that for you. So some of you may have old annuities that were way back in the day or whatever. Art can take a look at those for you. But this gentleman had a variable annuity, and the fees that are down in there, Art went down and dig into, because you probably can't find them. All right, there's a prospectus. And then
you have
got
to get into the prospectus.
And then also with mutual funds in there, Art, they'll turn those. They have fees in there as well.
Right.
So Art ended up, this guy thought he was doing pretty good, and Art said, "Hold on a minute, man, you're going backwards," right?
Well, the funny thing was, he said his friend sold it to him.
Yeah, that's right. He did. I remember that. Wow, nice guy.
Yeah.
So we will do an income analyzer review for you. We can do that annuity review. It's very simple. Call the phone number you see down on the bottom of the screen. I know that you're probably watching TV like most folks out there as well, with your cell phone pretty nearby. So do this, folks. Open up your cell phone to the camera function right now and point it at that orange and black box right there. When you do that, click on it. Point on that thing, it'll bring you right over to their website. So many tools on the website. You can register for events there. You can find out more information about how the team works and what the investment strategy looks like. You can also get your tax in retirement review. Art, you said this is a great tool. It only takes a few minutes, you said. You put in your taxes.
If you're concerned about this Roth conversion we talked about, and you want to see what it might cost you, go to our website, right in the front page, a little box so you can take, in 30 seconds, you can find out how much tax you're going to have to pay on your retirement plan, just like we showed you.
So many tools are right there on the website. So open your phone to the camera, point it at I know, it's right down there. Point it at that QR code on there. It'll go right over to the website, and you can get your tax calculator done right now. You can also schedule an appointment. You can go to one of our live events at no cost, meet Art and Len in person, ask them your retirement
And you can
questions.
also, by the way,
oh, yeah, he had to throw in one more
you
on
also
the kitchen sink and get his new
Len's book, right? I got my new book, Way of the Financial Warrior. I'm not letting you get off that. I'm proud of my book.
I'm so excited about it.
Anyway, folks, 5 different self-defense moves, financial moves that you can make to get peace of mind, and go and order it.
When you come into the office, you get a complimentary copy of Len's book. More Let's Talk Safe Money with Len and Art when we get back right after this.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler and 𝗷𝗂𝘀𝘁 of LSF Capital right here in South Florida. I am Spike Spangle, and we're still, for 2 shows in a row, talking about covering all of your retirement bases, as many as we can. Art, you had just brought up annuities in there, and you were saying you weren't really a big fan of the variable, especially because of the really high fees often hidden inside there.
Right.
So what kinds do you like, or what kinds are you more in favor of?
Well, we really concentrate on fixed indexed annuities. So these are annuities that the insurance company has each insurance company will choose different indexes. So what my job is, and I've been doing this now for 34 years, believe it or not, is to find the best companies, top rated, that offer the best indexes that's going to give you the most potential for some gains, and then what they call participation rates. So you're not really invested in the index. Sounds a little confusing, but it's like the insurance company telling you, if you put your money in this index for 1 year, we're going to give you a certain percentage of the gains of it. You're not really invested in that index, but whatever that index does, gains, we're going to give you maybe 80% or 100%. So you get the potential of making the gains of that index without any risk whatsoever because you're not really invested in that index. So finding the best companies, finding the best indexes that are available, and the third thing is the highest participation, which means the percentage of the gains that you can get. And again, you can't lose money. So a fixed index annuity only goes 2 ways. It goes up or sideways. So you can never lose money. You can never give back any gains. We have some pretty good returns. Now, you can also have riders put onto that. So without the rider, there's no fees. You know, there's absolutely no fees. People say no fee. There's no fees in this whatsoever. With a rider, we can have different things. We can have something like a guaranteed lifetime income built into this. So you have the growth, but if you want to turn on a guaranteed lifetime income, you can turn it on. Sometimes what they do is they'll step up 8% every year. So every year you wait to take your income, it'll go up 8%, 8%, 8%. And then when you turn on your income, it's based on that level. So that's just another variation of a fixed index annuity.
You guys remember Oldsmobile?
Yeah. Right.
You guys remember Packard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we used to have older cars out there, right? But unless they're completely restored, we're generally not driving around on older cars.
Right.
There might be folks out there, though, that have older annuities, older products.
Absolutely.
What does that look like now? If we know that things can be more streamlined, can provide different riders, we didn't even talk about the long-term care option where it's kind of a Swiss Army knife. It can either give you income or long-term care income. What do we do, Len, if we have an older annuity? Are we just stuck with that old Packard?
No, that's the good thing now is that these newer annuities, like Art's been explaining, you know, they have different riders and things on them. And the other thing is, used to be back in the day that you would have, it was only the S&P. It was the only index, right? And it was capped, all right? So we see a lot of folks coming in with these older annuities, and there's a cap on them. They can't make any more than, say, 4 or 5%, right? Well, what Art and our team has done is with some of these newer annuities, there's some what's called bonuses on these things, right? And Art's been looking at a lot of our clients and going back to these older annuities and saying, hey, you know, we got, maybe take a look at these things and see what we can do. So Art, with that percentage, you know, I don't know, one of them is 19%,
Yeah,
I think you guys are working with.
One's 17%, one company, a real top company, one's 19%. So that means I could find just the annuities that are out there right now, maybe some of our clients, maybe some just people coming in to see us, that they still have surrender charges, because usually they have a 10-year surrender, kind of decreases from 10, 9, 8 down to 0 after 10 years. But somewhere in there, they may look and say, well, let's try and move that. Or we may look and say, let's move that over to a new one, but we don't want to have to pay that surrender charge. So if we have a bonus on the other side, we can offset the surrender charge. So a lot of times we can take a very poor performing fixed index annuity or variable annuity and move it to a good one and actually come out ahead of the game.
And by the way, this bonus that you're talking about and these surrender charges, these are not designed by you. These are designed by the insurance companies. So if they're the ones offering the bonus, they realize that there is often a surrender charge if it's ahead of time. So they're the ones offering these bonuses because there seem to be better numbers. Is this based on the rise in interest rates that we've talked about on radio, Art?
Right, that's made a big difference to the annuities. With interest rates going up, the participation rates and the caps have gone up substantially. Now they've leveled off, and we may have some reductions this year. It looks like we may have 3 or 4 interest rate reductions. So we might see the caps and that starting to come back down a little bit. But right now they're nice and strong. They're as high as I've seen them. So it's a good time to really take a look at some of these annuities and maybe make some of these exchanges if it makes sense and if we can offset the fees.
You know, Art, the other thing that we've been seeing a lot of with our clients is there was a lot of money on the sideline. A lot of people, you know, are keeping their money on the sideline, and all of a sudden these rates went up, right? So instead of a CD, which isn't going to pay, you know, anywhere near what we've been getting, I mean, some of these were like 3 and 5 year type fixed annuities, right? That ended up, you know, giving a decent rate of return.
Yeah, I mean, in the past few months, we had a 5-year fixed CD. So fixed meaning it's like a CD, and you put your money in, and for 5 years, they guarantee a rate. So that's a fixed annuity. 5 years, a guarantee rate. We had some over 6%.
Yeah.
But no
and
risk
tax deferred, right? Tax
and
deferred.
tax deferred, that's a big difference. So when you have your money in a CD every year, you're getting that 1099.
Yeah.
With this, you don't get it until you take the money out.
And these have been out in this window right now. But talks from the Fed, talks from up north are that interest rates will probably start coming down. So do you think this window on where these rates are right now is probably starting to shut?
Time to do it now.
Yeah, it actually has started. Even though they haven't started cutting yet, the rates have come down a little bit. We were over 6.25, and now they're down like 5.8, 5.9. That's still a pretty good rate for a guarantee fix.
All right, now is the time to act. Folks, here's what you can do. Call the phone number down on the bottom of the screen. We will do an annuity analyzer for you. It's all part of our portfolio review and putting together a written financial plan for you. But we can do an annuity analysis of either what you're using right now or considering using compared to some of the tools that are out there right now offered by some of the largest insurance companies here in the United States. So if you'd like to find out if you should refinance your retirement. That is, take a look at your annuities to see what the rates are today compared to what you already have. You might be able to put more dollars in your pocket every single month from your annuity payments. Call the phone number you see right here. Or let's talk safe money with Len Strickler, 𝗷𝗂𝘀𝗀𝗃 when we get back right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler and 𝗷𝗂𝘀𝘁 of LSF Capital right here in South Florida. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. We're trying to cover as many of your retirement bases as we can on today's program. I'm sorry, though, Art. There's got to be time. Thank you so much for all the conversation on annuities and the investment philosophy of what you do. But aren't there times when people come in and say, look, this is what I've saved? And you ask them, how much risk can you take? How much can you afford to lose? And they say 0. I don't want to lose any of it.
Right. Yeah, right.
Why do we have to have any of it invested?
Put your money under the mattress, right? Yeah.
Well, then it floats away out in the ocean, our next hurricane.
Now, obviously, with inflation, all the things we're talking about, that we've talked about, you have to have your money growing. You can't just put your money, someplace like under a mattress and expect to last your whole lifetime. You have to have growth. I think about just a simple little thing like a homeowner insurance, for instance. Last year, a lot of the people in our area here in South Florida, their insurance, their homeowner insurance, flood, windstorm, maybe they were $2,000, $2,500. Now they're like $10,000. Where are they going to get that $8,000 from? This
is huge. This is happening across the country. We talked about it on the radio program. 2 of the largest major insurers here in the United States said they're no longer going to offer new homeowners insurance in Florida, one out in California. We're starting to see it out in Colorado. They have the hailstorms out there and the firestorm. Yeah. And so places where insurance has become expensive, how do we know now if what we've saved here in Florida is enough for retirement?
Right. I mean, another good example is repairs to your roof of your house. I mean, the insurance companies now have come out in our area in South Florida, and they said if a roof is 15 years or older, so if they don't see a permit pulled within the last 15 years, you need a new roof or you're not getting insurance. And I'm in a townhouse in Fort Lauderdale.
And you just got one of those letters, didn't you?
Yeah, we just got canceled by the insurance, and our insurance for the condo association tripled. So we're paying triple the insurance until everybody gets their roof up to code within the last 15 years. I'm talking $30,000 for a townhouse roof. So it's not something that, you have to plan for stuff like this. And it's so important. So
and our homes and that kind of insurance aren't the only insurance. We've got our health care costs that go up. I mean, just all of these different costs that are going up on us. As we say, the consumer price index doesn't even include food and energy.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
How does that work? I mean, we go to the grocery store, it's still expensive, Len.
Yeah, absolutely. I always say, come on, have you tried to buy a steak lately? I mean, I don't know about you and your family, but I'm on hot dogs now. I mean, it's crazy. Just kidding. Yeah. But it is crazy, isn't it? I mean, it's out of control.
One place that I'm seeing a lot of Americans also trying to cut costs in retirement, saying not only do I not want to take risk, but they don't want to spend the money, and they feel that with the investments, well, it can be less expensive if I do it myself. You've heard all those phrases like robo-advisors, and there's online investing and technology. When people call into you, are you using these kinds of tools?
Well, I mean, we have tools that we use, but those things there, I mean, come on. I mean, you're going to see us, folks. We want a personal touch. Those tools, many times, they're hard to use. Folks don't really understand them. A lot of folks, they need help. I mean, they don't even, once those pensions went away, back in 1978, we came into this whole thing of the 401ks and the IRAs, whatever. All that came back on top of the shoulders of the individual, right? And most folks, they come in and they don't even know what's going on. A lot of them, they don't even know they're in the market. Right? So no, you come in and see us, folks. We're going to personally work with you. We're going to make sure that we get to know you, what your purpose of your money is. We want to know maybe about your children, your family. Do you need money for your kids to go to college? We got to take all those things into account. But you're going to see us personally, folks. That's how we roll.
Technology is changing, especially when it comes to personal finance. So do you help people kind of walk through the tools that you have, or how do you prefer the process to go? It's one thing that we haven't really talked about while we've had Art on here is kind of our new forming of LSF Capital. Maybe we could talk a little bit about the process. What is it like? Dollars to Donuts, somebody calls that phone number right now. They enjoy what you say here. They've heard you on the radio. They come to a live event. what's it like the first time they walk in the office?
Yeah. Well, they have to take the time. You can't really put together a plan over a Zoom meeting or over the telephone. So we want them to come in, see us, sit down with us. We have a beautiful conference room. We have a beautiful screen that we put up all the information we want to show them so everything's clear. But the first thing is to get to know them, get to know their family.
Right,
Do they have
absolutely.
children? Do they have grandchildren? And really sit down with them and trying to find all the information we can about them, what their goals are, what they think of taxes. Do they agree that they think taxes are going to go up, which most people do? What they think of inflation. And we'll put together a plan, a detailed plan that they're going to see every year. I can show them to age 100 where their money's going to grow, how much they're going to be taken out, any emergencies, inflation, taxes. We show it all, and that's what we do. And when people leave our office after we've done a plan like that, it doesn't happen the first time. The first time they come in, we get the information. The next time we may go into some details on some thoughts on making some changes. But we're usually a 3-appointment process. We take our time. We want the clients to know exactly what we're doing and what we're suggesting, and to be comfortable with it.
And so I know what they come away with is the written financial plan. But the written financial plan, it's not just a document to call in for the phone number right now and say, hey, I'd like to see what a financial plan looks like. Len, it's more of a process, but they still walk away eventually with a written financial plan.
Yeah, it's definitely a process. We like Art said, they come in, we get to know a little bit about them. It's kind of a discovery call, right? We want to know not only their goals or whatnot, but then, what are some of look at their statements, right? Let us take a look and see where you are. That's part of our second phase, right? Where we'll go take that data, Art and the team will crunch it, they'll run through it, and eventually they'll come up with suggestions, right? And so we like to show folks options. And we don't push. We're not salesy. We tell folks if it's something that we can help you with and we're the right advisor for you, we'll let you know. And if you feel uncomfortable with us, folks, let us know, and we'll part friends. That's fine.
Eric does a nice analysis of their portfolio when they bring it in. Between the first appointment and the second, he does a whole plan of going into detail on every single security they might have or fund. And he's going to come up with a report. And we have to know what their risk tolerance are, and does their existing portfolio meet that risk, or is it more?
All right, Len and Art, thank you very much for trying to cover as many retirement bases as we could in this 2-program series. Get your own written financial plan by calling the phone number you see right down there on the bottom of the screen. Yes, it's going to cover your investments and income strategy, but it's also going to be a tax review, an annuity review if that applies to you, estate planning conversations, Social Security, health care as well. All of that is part of your written financial plan, and you can get that by calling the phone number down on the bottom of the screen. Thanks for watching Let's Talk Safe Money. We'll be back next week.